Okay, everybody, this is Emar Sobertooth, the Sports Inquirer, and thanks for joining us for the latest edition of Fighting Peaches. As we recap Georgia State football's contest against Appalachian State from October 2nd, we're recording this on October 4th. Hope all is well for you as we're doing this on a Monday, recapping all things Georgia State football as well as the rest of the Sunbelt Conference. As always, to follow everything that we do, head to the mothership, thesportsinquirer.net. Premier site for news and notes in the world of sports. You can go on there and get all of our college football content from Georgia State as well as Georgia Tech, and with all ACC content as well as the SEC University of Georgia. So for Southeastern sports and college football, follow us and you'll be able to get everything that we need. Specifically for Georgia State, we have our interview with Tucker Gregg from last week after the Auburn contest, and he gave some good content to us there. And just make sure to keep track of all the stuff we have going on. We have a lot of information from Georgia Tech, Georgia State, on their different various fall sports such as cross country, volleyball, soccer, things like that. So make sure you go to the site and continue to check all of that out. You can also go to our social media platforms on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook under Sports Inquirer. And finally, you can go to our audio and video hosts such as YouTube, SoundCloud, Spotify, Google Podcast, and others, and iTunes. And go to Sports Inquirer, search for us, follow us, and you'll see everything that we have going on. Yeah, so Georgia State fell to Appalachian State 45-16 at Center Park Stadium in the Sunbelt Conference opener for both teams on October 2nd. The Panthers, who fell to 1-4 on the season and 0-1 in Sunbelt play, trailed 14-9 midway through the third quarter, but Appalachian State connected on a touchdown pass of 79 yards, and that was really it from there. Just a really tough contest for the Panthers against Appalachian State team that is now 4-1 on the year and 1-0 in Sun Belt play. In Georgia State, they were sort of in striking distance. They were down 24-9 late in the third quarter, but the Mountaineers scored 3 consecutive touchdowns, and that put the game away, and that was really all that was needed for Appalachian State. Here is head coach of Georgia State, Shawn Elliott, on the defeat.
Certainly not the effort we wanted to go out there and play with today. You know, it's pretty doggone evident in the score and in the loss to Appalachian State. And, you know, there in the second half, they did a really good job of wanting it much more than we did. To tell you the truth, throughout the course of that game, I was like, I didn't know if either team wanted to take that win. And it snowballed on us there in the second half. Very disappointing. I mean, it's a very disappointing feeling. That it just, I don't know what the turning point was for it to go downhill like it did, and that's the thing. You know, you got to go back and you got to watch tape. But we got to do a lot of soul searching in here. I don't know where some of the mentality came from right there in the middle of the third quarter and then throughout the fourth quarter, and you know. But I've got to do some. We got to talk as a team. We don't need to go out there and I won't even go into that. We just we got to figure some things out. It certainly didn't end the way we had hoped.
Just the effort was not there. It just that not one side of the ball executed well for Georgia State in that victory. Offensively, they had their struggles. They started off slowly. Darren Granger, who has the quarterback who has started the past 2 games for Georgia State, he started the Auburn contest 2 weeks ago, started Appalachian State. Really tough start to the contest, threw an interception that was picked off by Sean Jolly of Appalachian State. That set up App State's first touchdown of the game, a 23-yard touchdown run by Nate Noel, who was actually the leading rusher in the Sun Belt Conference. Georgia State tried to change it up and put Cornelius Brown IV, into quarterback, replacing Granger in the third series of the contest. Now, Brown did lead the team to drives that resulted in 3 field goals, and Brown finished the contest with 175 passing yards, but threw 2 interceptions in the contest. Granger went back into the contest later in the game in the fourth quarter and threw for the lone touchdown of the contest for Georgia State on a 66-yard TD pass to Talik Williams. So that was the lone touchdown for Georgia State. Here is Coach Elliott on the quarterbacks and just the rotation and just trying to find some production from that spot.
Well, we went in thinking we were going to play them both. We of course had to get our throwing game going a little bit, and we thought at that point, we weren't sitting there running the football on Appalachian State, and we haven't been able to do that in the past very well. They do a good job, got a great scheme, and does a good job managing the run game, and we felt like we would have to throw it more in this contest to move the football a little bit. So we had already thought about bringing Quad in. Both of our quarterbacks knew the situation, and we made the move.
Yeah, and credit to Appalachian State as well. They have been the class of the conference for the past few years, and they are putting themselves right in a position to be that again. They took a 14-3 lead in the third quarter on Chase Bryce's 33-yard TD pass to Malik Williams. That was a big play for Georgia State. As I mentioned, the Panthers did get 3 field goals from Noel Ruiz, the senior place kicker, and he has made 14 consecutive field goal attempts for Georgia State, which is a record for the program. And the second of those 3 field goals made the score 14-9 for Appalachian State in the third quarter. And that's when the Mountaineers proceeded to outscore the Panthers 31-7 the rest of the way. App State finished with 502 total yards of offense, led by Bryce, who threw for 326 yards and 3 TDs in the victory. Homecoming for Bryce, the Grayson High School product, which is in Lawrenceville, Georgia, which is a suburb of Atlanta. So he was back in his home state and had a really big performance for the Mountaineers. And the Mountaineers were able to rush for 180 yards on the ground as a team. So they really took care of the game on the offensive end of things. Here is Elliott on the Panthers' defense of App State's offense.
Yeah, I really thought they played well defensively right through the third quarter, and we really, we're right there within striking distance, and they hit that long throw on us, and then come back. We make the turnover. Our defense holds. They kick the field goal. And like I said, we were playing really good defensively. Their run game was in check. Their throw game was in check, other than hitting that long pass. And I was proud of our defense, and I'm still proud of our defense. I'm not proud of how we finished the game defensively, offensively, or anything for that matter. But yeah, I was pleased. I was pleased. They were giving us opportunities to get the ball back and score. And ultimately, offensively, we could not do that. And the credit to Appalachian State and what they do and their scheme, and they do a really nice job. They're a well-coached football team. They've got good players, and they outmatched us.
And as far as offensive highlights for Georgia State, Jameis Williams, Jam, rushed for 41 yards on 8 carries. He had a 19-yard reception. Marcus Carroll had 46 rushing yards in the fourth quarter. Sam Pickney and Cornelius McCoy led receivers with 4 catches each. Those are 2 all-conference caliber players that have struggled to stay on the field consistently due to injury, so they were able to get 4 catches each. Maybe that's something you can build on for positivity for the Panthers. They finished the day with 380 yards of total offense, but overall just not enough against Appalachian State. And here is Elliott on the team's offensive struggles.
Well, some of the things we do, we try to get as many receivers out as we can. So in a lot of our throw game, it's a 5-man protection at times, and they did a good job with inside pressure, bringing their 2 inside linebackers, and they were spying their defensive ends to get some inside pressure on us right away, and that was just good on their part. And we probably should have had a little bit more protection, leaving a back end right there. But even when we did bring our max protection in, they still brought one more on the side that we could have picked up. So they did a really good job in matching the protections and bringing the stunts. So the credit's to them.
Now, Georgia State turns around and continues Sunbelt play next Saturday, which is October 9th, when they travel to Louisiana-Monroe. Let's go over the rest of the Sunbelt Conference. We'll start with the Warhawks. They fell at Coastal Carolina 59-6. Coastal ran its home winning streak to 11 straight contests, and it's Coastal's 10th straight win against conference opposition. Interestingly enough, it was their first ever win over the Warhawks. Remember, Coastal is in the Eastern Division. Louisiana-Monroe's in the Western. There's not too many crossover matches, so that was a big win for them. Grayson McCall was perfect, 13 for 13 in the contest, completed all of his passes for 212 yards and 2 touchdowns in the victory. He did not even play in the second half. The Chanticleers are now 5-0 on the season. Second time they've done that in their history. They're nationally ranked right now. As we're recording this, they were, I think, 17th in the nation. That may change. I've seen when the latest poll comes out, but they'll be top 20 once again in the rankings. They are off to a tremendous start. And then we're all counting down pretty much the days to App State and Coastal to determine the winner of the Eastern Division. Big one for Georgia Southern. We went off last week about the firing of Mark Lumsfeld, the head coach of the Georgia Southern uh, Eagles, and they have a new head coach, an interim head coach, Kevin Whitley. They were able to outlast Arkansas State 59-33. The Eagles rushed for 503 yards and 7 touchdowns, led by Logan Wright. He had 208 rushing yards and 2 TDs on his own. So the Eagles were able to win their first game with the new head coach and get a conference win at that. And defensively, Georgia Southern played really well, had 6 sacks and 4 interceptions, including a pick six returned by linebacker Quinn Williams. So now Georgia Southern, looks to find their way to a winning record and try to build on some positivity similar to some other teams. Louisiana jumped out to a 20-0 lead over previously unbeaten South Alabama in the second quarter, but had to hold on for a 20-18 victory over the Jaguars. So now South Alabama's first loss of the season, and they scored 18 consecutive points after that slow start, and they had a potential go-ahead field goal go wide right with a minute left in the contest. So that was a tough break for the Jaguars, who were one of the surprise teams of the conference. But Louisiana, they now put themselves in first place in the Western Division, and they're now 8-2 all time in that series, and they've won 6 straight against the Jaguars. In the last matchup from the week, non-conference tilt, but Troy nearly defeated South Carolina. They were very close to it, despite holding South Carolina to only 102 rushing yards. Troy could not overcome their 4 turnovers and fell to the Gamecocks 23-14. So that was a tough break for Troy, trying to get a non-conference win on the road. And that concludes our recap of Georgia State football, as well as the rest of the Sunbelt Conference. Go to our site, thesportsinquirer.net, to get all of the updates and information that you need. We'll have our preview for this upcoming week probably on Thursday or Friday, so look out for that, and I'll get the day of the week for you, which is going to be the 7th or 8th of October. We'll have a preview of some of the contests that you'll see in the Sunbelt. Until next time, good fight, good night, and be safe.